was the last player who was supposed to report to camp. Yesterday, he joined the team alongside Elisha Owusu.
Okay.
And so 24 players are currently in camp. There is no injury problem. But then when Otuado was speaking at his presser, he made mention that for Elisha Owusu, he might be observed a little bit before a decision is actually made whether he will be playing against Angola or not.
Why? What is the issue with Elisha Owusu?
Well,
Who is Elisha Owusu in the first place?
He plays in France. He plays for AJ Auxerre.
Okay.
He's been part of the team for some time now, but then he's not really been a regular with regards to the Black Stars. But then he's an important player for AJ Auxerre. In fact, he's their assistant captain.
Oh, that's a big player.
Yeah, in the French league. And so he is a very good player. But then it looks like he came with a little bit of an injury.
Okay.
He came with a knock from the game he played over the weekend in the French league. And so he had to be observed by the medical team before a final decision had to be made.
So the press conference was what yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday.
So what were some of the highlights of the press conference? Who were those speaking on behalf of the GFA and Black Stars? The coach, of course.
Yeah.
Who else was on the podium?
Yeah, so it was the coach and then the communications director of the Ghana Football Association. But then mostly the coach did the talking at the press conference. I mean, he stated the fact that he's got his entire team ready for that game. He doesn't really have a problem with the players in camp currently. He also spoke about the fact that Angola has been a very good side in the last 12 months. And he mentioned about the fact that at the Africa Cup of Nations in Cote d'Ivoire, they got to the quarterfinals. And even apart from that, I mean, they've also been playing a zonal competition called the COSAFA Cup, where they ended up winning it. And so they've been really good. And under their current coach, Pedro Goncalves, they've managed to cause some little bit of upset on the continent. Even in their last FIFA World Cup qualifier, they played against five-time champions Cameroon and then ended up picking a point against Cameroon. And so,
that's a strong team.
Yeah, that is a very, very strong team and then a very strong performance. And so, for Coach Otuado, he says that his team will give Angola the needed respect, especially in the opening game of the qualifiers.
That's quite interesting. I mean, is it to tone down on our expectations? Is he trying to set himself up for a draw and then we say, I told you they were a good team? I mean, or is that then a strategy that coaches use always just to keep the spectators in check?
Well, I mean, for this particular one, you can't really say it's a strategy because the Angolan team has really, really been good in the last year. And when you compare their performances with the Black Stars, they've been ahead of the Black Stars in terms of performances. And so for Otuado, he would want to be cautious ahead of that game because anything can happen. The last time even Ghana played Angola in the Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers, Ghana struggled. They had to rely on a last-minute goal to be able to beat Angola. And so he might be right with what he's saying. But then from what we've seen under Otuado in the last few games, it looks like a Ghanaian team that is on the up and coming. And so he would want to tread cautiously. He wouldn't want to, go out on all guns blazing and then talking big when really his team is not there yet. And so for me, I think it is not just about strategy. He's trying to be factual first of all. But then, I mean, this is Ghana, 4 times African champions. We shouldn't be going into games not really thinking we can go out there and then win. Angola is a good side, but then I feel would have to go in and then make sure that we get the results. But then for Otuado, he's that coach that wants to really understand his opponent before going out there, and he doesn't underestimate any team that he plays. I remember before that game against the Central African Republic, he made the same comments. I mean, giving respect to the Central African Republic, and we all saw what happened. It nearly ended in a 4-4 draw. It was a thriller in Kumasi. But then the good thing is that with Kumasi, like you said, it is a place that we don't lose games.
When was the last time we lost in Kumasi?
It's been over 20 years. it's really been a very long time that Ghana lost the game in Kumasi. It was Accra that, the results.
Accra, if you misbehave, will insult you.
Yeah. The results were really good in Accra, but then with Kumasi, the fans are always behind them, and it also goes with the manner in which we win games in Kumasi. Like I said, even that Angola game, it was that cheer from
in that Angola game. If it had been played in Accra, Black Stars would have drawn or lost.
I believe so.
Because Accra fans are very impatient.
I mean, even after 80 minutes, the fans would have been leaving the stadium. Yeah. But then with Kumasi, they will stay till the end and then make sure that the game is done and dusted. And so Kumasi plays a huge role in the results of Ghanaian matches.
Interesting. It's 7:30 and he's here. His name is Lukman Evergreen Moomin, our sports desk. And he's telling us what is happening and what is about to happen in Kumasi today as part of our top story. So, who are we expecting to be on the field in the first 11?
Well, I mean,
yeah,
definitely.
He's our best goalkeeper by far.
Yeah.
I've seen some excepts, and it looks like.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at the 3 goalkeepers in camp, he's been the goalkeeper that has been very active and very, very good for his club. I mean, for the first time, he led his club to the group stages of an European Championship, and so that is how good he's been with FC St. Gallen of Switzerland. And so definitely he will be imposed for us in today's game.
Okay, and we're looking at the back 4.
Yeah, with the back 4, Alidu Seidu would definitely be playing at the right back position because he's been very consistent with Stade Reims in the French League. Unfortunately for Tariq Lamptey, he's not seen minutes in the English Premier League this season.
Since the season started.
Yeah, and then at the left back position, the only left back player we have in the squad currently is Ebenezer Annan, who plies his trade in Serbia with OFK Belgrade. And so he's definitely the one that will be starting at that left back position. I've heard people make a lot of noise about Baba Rahman coming back and all those stuff. I mean, yes, at this particular moment, we don't have a dependable left back because Gideon Mensah has been struggling with some injuries. But then at the moment, it's also an opportunity for a player like Ebenezer Annan to, prove himself in the Black Stars. So Ebenezer Annan will be there. And then in that central defensive defense, you have Mohamed Salisu, another good player for AS.
How is he doing in Monaco? Since he left the EPL, I've not followed him.
Yeah, so at the beginning of his career at AS Monaco, he struggled with injuries, and so the first half of the season, he wasn't really part of the team. But then the second half of the season, he got himself into the team, and since then, he's been amazing. He's one of the reasons why AS Monaco actually finished second last season and then qualified for the UEFA Champions League. And this season, he's been amazing for them, and so it looks like he's picking up from where he left off at Southampton, and so that is good for the Black Stars. He's been very, very good.
Who is he partnering with in the middle?
Yeah, it had to be Alexander Jiku, but Jiku has been out. He's out of the squad because of an injury.
Jiku is out of the squad?
Yeah, he's out of the squad. He picked up a knock in the final league game before the international break.
Oh, sorry for him.
Yeah, so he's out of the team.
So Jerome Opoku?
Yeah, there is Jerome Opoku of Istanbul Basaksehir. He's another very good player. He's been very, very good for his team. But then the little dynamics here is that Jerome Opoku is a left-footed player. Mm-hmm. You also have Mohamed Salis is also a left-footed player. And when you pair 2 left-footed players in central defense, it really comes with some form of a problem. So I feel for Otuado, he will be in a bit of a dilemma as to who.
What about the La Liga guy?
Yeah, that is the guy that I feel might be starting ahead of Jerome Opoku. Not because Jerome Opoku is not better than him, but then because of the left foot and then right foot dynamics. And so Abdul Mumin might be starting alongside Mohamed Salisu in that game. And so that is what I'm expecting from Otuado. And so for the defense, like I said, Alidu Seidu, Ebenezer Annan, Mohamed Salisu, and then Abdul Mumin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So far, La Liga 4 matches. He's played all?
Yeah, he's played all. Yeah.
So
he even contributed an assist in one of their games.
Okay. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, then let's come to the midfield. What formation is Otuado? Since he came, what has been his formation like?
Otuado has a flexible system. He usually likes to play the 3-5-2 system or the 4-3-3 system. Like we saw in the Central African Republic game. I mean, he started with the 3-5-2 system, and then we got a goal. But then immediately we got a goal, we conceded twice, and so he had to change the system as quick as possible. And then he went with the 4-3-3 system. And so if you watch his matches, he's more of a coach that likes to make sure that his defensive organization is very solid, because in the last few years we've not had a very good back line in terms of consistency, and so that is what he's trying to do. And so but for today's game, because it is the opening game, I feel like he might go with the 4-3-3 system.
We need to win.
Exactly, we need to win, and we need goals. And so he would, like I've mentioned, I mean, you have a 4-man defense, and so we would be needing a 3-man midfield. And I feel in the middle of the park, definitely Thomas Partey will be there. Majid Ashimeru just returned from injury. He's played a couple of matches for Anderlecht, but then I don't think Otuado will rush him into the game. But then the other option, which had to do with Elisha Owusu, he is currently not fully fit as we hear now. He's not really fit. And so definitely he might have to go with either Thomas Partey and then Mohamed Salisu in the middle. Majid Ashimeru in the middle of the park. It would have been Abdul Salih Samed, but then he didn't join the team because he was making a move to Sunderland, and then they had to excuse him. Has
that move gone through?
Yeah, it's gone through. He was unveiled yesterday, and so we might be seeing a pairing of Thomas Partey and then Majid Ashimeru in the middle of the park, as well as Mohamed Kudus playing in front of them. And so it will be two of them shielding the defense with Mohamed Kudus in front of them. So that 3 midfield will be Thomas Partey, Mohamed Kudus, and then Majid Ashimeru.
But that's a worrying midfield you just gave.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you why I said it's worrying.
Okay, I understand.
I'm looking for who is your defensive, who is your N'Golo Kante in this team?
It would have been Abdul Saleh.
Exactly.
Yeah, but then he's not in the team. And so, and then the other player...
Are you expecting Partey to play that deep line? Because he would. Spray passes and all that.
Yeah.
But when we are under attack, who is that rock that will shield the back four?
It's rather unfortunate we wouldn't be having Salis. But then because we want to go all out
probably
in this
because
game.
We want to win.
Yeah. But then there are players that could have played that position. There is this boy from Cercles Bruges in Belgium, Abu Francis. He's in the team. He's one player that can do that defensive midfield work. But then his experiences with the Black Stars is very limited. He's played only once for the Black Stars. Okay. And in that game, he really impressed. It was in a friendly against Uganda in March. And so if things get hard, I feel he is the guy
to come and shield the back four.
Exactly. But then for us to get going as quick as possible, I think Majid Ashimeru, Thomas Partey, and Mohamed
because
Kudus,
Majid can play that role, but he's the guy who bumps forward.
Exactly.
That's what he does. He's a great ball carrier.
Yeah. He won't stay. Majid Ashimeru would definitely not stay back there and then do the...
If he sees space, he goes through
it. Exactly. Yeah. And he's a very good ball carrier, and that is something we need in this game. But then if you have too many ball jugglers in the team too, it becomes...
because your back four is always exposed.
Exactly. There is Mohamed Kudus. But then, like I said, because we have to go out there and then make sure that we get the results as quick as possible, we need to go with that midfield 3.
Forgetting about the past, talking only about Otuado's reign, is the Black Stars making the best use of Mohamed Kudus?
The Mohamed Kudus situation is quite dicey. The thing about Mohamed Kudus is I think he's given his best when he plays for the Black Stars.
Are we making the best use of? We've seen him. No one is doubting his quality now. Now it's no more part of the conversation. He's doing this to Man City. To the very best. So that is out of the question. When he comes home, are we surrounding him with the right materials for Kudus to do what we know Kudus can do?
But the thing is, for me personally, I feel even the quality at the Black Stars can somehow be compared to the quality at West Ham.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you have Jordan Ayew, Thomas Partey plays for Arsenal. Jordan Ayew, plays for Crystal Palace. He played for Crystal Palace before Leicester. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have Abdul Fattah Ishaku. He had an amazing season
for Leicester. Give an assist in one of the matches I watched.
Exactly. So I think the quality is that he's surrounded by some quality. The thing is, like I said, Mohamed Kudus is a tricky player. It depends on how you want to play him. Because last season, for example, at West Ham, he was deployed at the right side of attack. Mm-hmm. This season, and at West Ham, he's now playing at the left side of attack. And in all those positions, he excels. At Ajax, he played as a number 10, and he excels.
Yes, I watched those matches.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like he's multi-dimensional. He's a versatile player. But then if you really want to get the best of him, you have to play him at that number 10 position. But then I've also
as close to the 18 as possible.
Exactly.
Because he has one of the most deadly left foots I've seen in a long while in this country.
I'm telling you, he is Mohamed Kudus. Mohamed Kudus is that good. And when you talk to him or when he speaks, he tells you that his best position is the number 10 position. I feel like sometimes the reason why we are not seeing so much of Mohamed Kudus is that he wants to carry the team on his shoulder. He wants to be the man sometimes. But then it is team football. Sometimes you have to allow the others to also be in the game for you to be able to flourish. And that is something that the coaches would have to pipe down to him. He has to understand that the players would have to support him to be able to do what he wants to do. The players too would have to understand Mohamed Kudus to some level, because he's not a player that would release the ball to you that easy. But then you have to make sure that you understand.
At the time he's ready to release, you've made yourself available.
Exactly. Because that is what the likes of Mikel Antonio, the likes of Jarrod Bowen are doing for him at West Ham. They know he wouldn't be releasing the ball.
He's not one touch kind of player.
But then when you look at their movement, they are always at the right place when he is about to release the ball. And that is something that is not with Black Stars team. I think it might be for the fact that they are not together for a very long time, you understand, because they come and train 2-3 days before the games. But then if Otuado wants to really get the best of him, it is that number 10 position. But then the players, like I said, would have to understand his movement. And then the other thing that affects him so much when he's playing for the Black Stars, especially in Kumasi, has to do with the pitch. He's somebody who wants to carry the ball. He wants to take on players. But then that Baba Ara Sports Stadium, that pitch, unless you get there, it's really difficult.
I think there was this press conference, this meeting between the team and I think was it the vice president? Was he the one who asked, or was Partey?
Thomas Partey.
Partey said something about the quality of the stadium that they should give to them.
Because you look at the pitches they play on week in, week out in England and then in Europe, and then you look at what we have here. I mean, it really affects them. That is why in the past you realize that a lot of times the smaller teams in Africa are able to get a hold on the bigger teams on the continent, because most of their players they struggle when they come down here to play on the pitches we have.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. So let's hope that we get the best out of Kudus for this match.
Sure.
Then we go forward.
Yeah.
What is the 3-man up front going to look like?
Well, it's good to see Inaki Williams back in the team. But then if you look at the performances of the players in the new season, I mean, I'm looking at Antoine Semenyo starting at the number 9 position. He used to play on the flanks.
Right through the middle.
Yeah. But then since Dominic Solanke left AFC Bournemouth, he's now been deployed as the number 9 at the club. And already he scored 2 goals and then provided an assist in 3 games. And so I'm looking at Antoine Semenyo playing that number 9 position, which is the head of the attack. And then I'm also looking at Jordan Ayew playing from the left side of attack, which is where he really flourishes when he's playing. And then there is one player that has also returned to the team. He plays in the MLS, Joseph Pinsel. He's also very good from the right. And so I'm looking at Pinsel starting from the right. If he doesn't start, the best player to start that position will be Fattah Ishaku. because he's also been very good playing from the right and then cutting in into the box. And so either Fatau Ishaku or Joseph Peso start on the right with Jordan Ayew on the left, and then
you won't start Inaki.
No. He struggled whenever he plays with the Black Stars. I feel
it's the same Kudus question. Yeah. We've seen him in Athletic Bilbao. He doesn't struggle. Yeah. Why is he struggling in Ghana?
I think it has to do with the cultural orientation. For some players, and this is a very huge issue. That is why when you look at countries like Morocco, what they've done is that they know they have a lot of players that are born
in France.
Europe.
Yes.
And so what they do is that they've created a community around these players. And so it makes it easy when they come to integrate into the Moroccan system. They've created that environment. But then here, we don't, like you said, when you look at the Moroccan players, you can have like 6 to 7 players from France.
All of them.
You can have 4 to 5 from the
Belgium.
Netherlands.
Yeah,
but
Netherlands.
with us, it is spread across. You have 2 from England, 2 from Spain, some from Holland. So they struggle to, understand our system down here. And so I feel like that is what is really affecting Inaki Williams. And because he doesn't speak English that well, it also affects him. But then football really does not have any language. When you are on the pitch, it's quite different. I mean, even at club level, you have players from different countries that don't speak the same language, and they still end up playing very, very well. But then we can also have we can use Inaki Williams and get the best out of him. The thing about Inaki Williams is that he's that striker that likes to make the runs, and so
because there must be space behind the back four for him to run.
Exactly. But then if you look at the system that we play, we like to play our game by spreading the ball towards the flanks instead of the midfielders putting in those long balls. Inaki Williams is a typical the old era type of strikers. Just
give him the ball and empty.
And exactly.
Am I right in comparing him a bit to the Eto kind of player? Somebody who likes space and uses speed.
Exactly.
That's what Inaki does.
Yeah, that is.
He won't take the ball and dribble 3, 5, 4 people.
No.
Give him space. He runs into the space.
And then,
but when he makes the dashes, it doesn't get the crosses coming.
Yeah. And that is another problem. That is a huge problem. You see, because our wingers are not naturally playing. For example, you take Fatau Ishaku. He's a left footer playing at the right side of attack. He would like to cut in rather than put in the cross.
Yeah.
You look at Jordan Ayew, a right footer playing at the left side of defense. He would like to cut in and then, put in those through balls and then So what happens is that, and that is modern football for you. But then what you can do is that you have to make sure that your fullbacks join the attack, because your fullbacks are mostly naturally.
So they will bring in the crosses.
Because the only goal that Inaki Williams even scored for the Black Stars, it was from a cross from a fullback. Gideon Mensah, he crossed that ball from that. Yeah, and then so you need your fullbacks to be part of the game a lot of times. But then our fullbacks don't really put in a lot of crosses when they are playing for the Black Stars.
They are more defensive minded.
Exactly.
Ali Seidu. Yeah, I mean, that's an out and out defender.
Proper defender.
Defender. If Tariq Lamptey was in the team, then he would have said that. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Brandon Thomas Asante. Who is he? What does he bring to the team?
Well, I mean, Brandon Thomas Asante, another player born in Europe. He was born in England, started his career at Milton Keynes. That is where he actually grew up. And so, but then he's a very good player. I've watched him a couple of times. Another versatile player. He can play across all the striking positions. I mean, he can play as a number 7, 11, and then number 9. In the last 2 seasons, he's been the top scorer for West Bromwich Albion. But then in the summer transfer window, he moved from West Brom to Coventry City, and already he scored 1 goal for the club. He's a very good player. He's also the one thing about him is also his work ethic. He works very, very hard. He tackles a lot, and so he's that kind of. In fact, I see him as a Carlos Tevez kind of striker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that is who he is.
That's a worker,
really.
somebody who's a bulldozer.
Exactly. And because he's new, I don't expect him to get a lot of time. But then as time goes on, I think he is that player that could give competition to Antoine Semenyo and then Inaki Williams.
Wow, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Am I sensing a certain? Is there a sense of stability within the Black Stars with regards to the coaching situation?
Yes. For a while, I think there is no pressure on the current coach, Otuado. It looks like Ghanaians have accepted him. The Ghana Football Association's relationship with him has been top notch. Because I'm saying this because when you look at in the past, when Chris Hughton was coach, you could see that
there was always a fight between the government person, the FA person. Exactly. The FA don't like him. They will trick him up. They will set him up for failure.
Exactly.
Those are the conversations going on. That's why I asked that question.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. But then with Otuado, there is nothing like that. It looks like Ghanaians have accepted him across board, and you look at what he is doing. And those back-to-back wins in June really made it easy for him to
those
settle.
Were big wins.
Yeah, big wins.
The away win against Mali.
Yeah.
That was for me one of the biggest wins we've had in a long time.
And that win also came from a tactical point of view. I mean, those changes, bringing in Fatal, bringing in Jordan Ayew. I mean, even having the balls to keep Jordan Ayew on the bench for that game and then bringing him in the second half, you could see that people are really rooting for him to succeed. Dropping someone like Andre Ayew, it's unheard of. But then under Otuado, he's done it, and then he's done it twice. And so it looks like what people want to see is really happening at the moment. And then apart from that, you also look at the players that he invites. Most of these players are players he's consistently bringing into the team. And so it looks like apart from that stability from that technical department, you also have some form of stability with regards to the players that are coming in.
Consistently he's calling a certain group.
Exactly.
Okay, so probably he has his, if not his first 11, we know he has his first 8 or something like that.
Yeah. And it could be because of his first experience with the Black Stars. That qualifying the team to the World Cup and playing at the World Cup. I think he's learned a lot about the Ghanaian team.
Anyway, it's good to know that there is stability in that space and all that. Thomas Partey is captaining, right?
Yeah.
Who is the vice in this team?
The vice captain is Jordan Ayew.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, we're hoping to. What time is the match?
4 p.m. Well, with the captain structure, it used to be Andre Ayew, the goalkeeper Richard Ofori, and then
Ghanaians don't want to see him just because he touched a ball small.
I'm telling you,
he touched the ball small and the ball crossed, and there was a corner and we lost. We don't want to hear of his name.
In fact, he's even lost in the system all of a sudden.
Wow.
Yeah. So
was he not in South Africa?
Yeah, he was in South Africa, but then his team he's ended his time with the team, and so he's currently clubless.
Wow.
Yeah. So and 2 of our captains are now clubless. So now it's Thomas Partey and then Jordan Ayew.
Who's the other guy who is clubless?
Andre Ayew.
Did he's clubless?
Yeah, he's still clubless.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Anyway, what was his last club in France?
Yeah, Le Havre.
They didn't renew his.
No. It was a 6-month contract, and so after it was done.
But the MLS is there. The Saudi Pro League is there.
Yeah, I don't know why he's not making a move to those places.
Anyway, we need to play a big thank you match for the day. One big thank you match for all of us to go and watch and just say thank you very much, because from the look of things, it looks like his days are numbered.
Yeah, it looks so, because I remember at the presser with Otuado when he came, the first presser in Accra. It looks like he's really closed the door on Andre Ayew, but then he doesn't want to publicly put it out there.
Probably Dede himself must see the writing on the wall and say, listen, I'm stepping down as a... Okay. You want to push him into early retirement, or is it just right for him to go at this time? We never know. These are questions that he has to answer himself. What are your expectations?
Well, it will be a very tough one for us. But then I still feel we've got the quality to be able to beat Angola. They've been on form in the last year. They have some very good players. Gilberto Mabululu, if you remember that name, at the Africa Cup of Nations, he was one of the best players in Ivory Coast. But then, I mean, if you have a team that has players that play in the English Premier League consistently, Mohamed Kudus, Thomas Partey, Antoine Semenyo, Jordan Ayew, I mean, we should be able to edge them. And so I'm expecting a win against Angola. The worst could be a draw, but then, I mean, it's going to be a win for Ghana.
It's going to be a win for Ghana. So says Lukman Evergreen moment from our sports desk. We've been talking Black Stars and Angola. And we know that there is a second match. But that's on Monday. Let's bite this one first. Chew, swallow, digest. When we come back on Monday, we'll talk about the other game